What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Sergeant Moose here, back with another Evil Dead the Game video. In today's video, guys, I wanted to make an updated Survivor tier list. So essentially what I'm saying, guys, is I made one previously. For those that follow my content probably know that. Back closer when the game first came out, I made a Survivor tier list, and my goodness, I was dead wrong on quite a few things. Some things I got right, and of course, with the latest balance changes, updates, balance bar meta, early demon nerfs, things like that, a lot of things have changed with these survivors and their tiers. So I wanted to make an updated video on some of these survivors and what their placement would be. Again, some are kind of the same as my last video, but other survivors prove way more viable now than what they ever have before. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it, man. Let's see this updated survivor list, and let me know what you guys think of this list as well and where you would place your survivors. So let's do it. All right, guys, coming in at number 13 on the list, and I guess you would consider this D tier, and probably the only character I'm going to have in D tier would be Lord Arthur. And there's a lot of reasoning behind that. And the number one reason is because I don't see how Lord Arthur could be viable over any other warrior or hunter in this game to use. Now, of course, we have his ability, which grants a 20% melee damage whenever he uses it to everybody else using melee inside the aura. Also reduces fear. It has a 45-second cooldown. And you can also upgrade it to a 30% with heavy and light attacks for everybody else that's inside the aura, for a total of 50% extra melee damage for everybody that's inside of that aura. Now, the interesting thing about this, guys, it is a 15-second duration, but Arthur is simply just not that strong. He's a leader, of course, which means that his melee damage in general is limited. Of course, if you have the sword, you do a little bit more. His melee damage, his health, everything like that is kind of balanced. Nothing really shows out, just like the rest of the leaders. But this is why I don't think there's any point in taking Lord Arthur over another, say, warrior class or hunter class. So if you have a warrior class, a hunter class, and a support, in your team, and you don't want to play a leader, I just don't see taking Lord Arthur over any of the other two leaders or a warrior or hunter class, because if you have another good warrior or another good hunter, you're going to do more damage output and help your team in terms of, getting rid of those mobs and things more than what I think Lord Arthur would do on his own. So with that said, I think he has the potential to be a good character, but let's be honest, I believe Lord Arthur needs a buff in some point, because he is probably one of the least used classes in this game, because he's just not that viable. All right, guys, coming in at number 12, and I think probably the lowest on the C tier spectrum would be Ash from Ash vs. Evil Dead. Again, another leader, guys, and honestly, as I said in my first video whenever I did the Survivor thing, Ash is definitely a team player. This Ash vs. Evil Dead leader is made more for squads that are communicating. Now, this list, of course, is a solo squad list, like a solo queue survivor list, which means that I don't think in solo queues he is as viable, because you have everybody kind of running off on their own, kind of doing their own thing in solo queues. And for Ash's El Jefe and El Jefe El Grande to be most effective is whenever everybody is near him. Now, of course, this is going to be great for hunters, especially great for hunters, because it's going to keep their fear down. It's going to increase their damage. Also, warriors as well. And so if they have some really good weapons, some really good legendaries, it's going to help keep their fear down so they don't get possessed. He also has the show up and blow up ability, which obviously brings down the balance bar whenever he uses it. It has an AoE effect. It can be effective in some situations, but it's not. It kind of reminds me of Scotty's ability. It's not like anything incredible that's going to, be a game changer. So, and also he is a leader, so he has, decent but not great stats across the board, as far as his, health and damage output, things like that. Of course, you can increase that in his skill tree, but I think he can be extremely effective in a communicative squad. Way higher on a list for a squad that communicates. He is absolutely incredible. But as far as solo queue, this would be one of the last survivors that I would choose just because he relies on the team sticking by him to be most effective. So number 12, low C tier, Ash versus Evil Dead. On our list, and again, probably C tier, I'm going to go with Scotty. Now, he is improving. His Thunder Thrust ability did get a little bit of a buff, but he's still not exactly where I want to be. And let me explain. So with our latest patch, one of our latest patches, we, of course, the game's meta revolves around balance bar damage. But the thing about Scotty is he is most effective with a Lumberjack Axe because he, of course, gets the buff down here, the Weapon Master for Lumberjack Axe. But the thing is Lumberjack Axe will do balance bar damage. Of course, yes, it is still a very powerful, viable weapon. But I feel like Scotty's built more for dismemberment damage. Now, you can build him for balance bar, but he's most effective for dismemberment damage, in my opinion. And dismemberment is simply just not the meta in this game right now. It is balance bar at this moment. So if I'm going to go with any warrior to play with, Scotty's probably going to be the last one. And another reason being is because he, unlike Ash AOD and Henry the Red, he doesn't have any defensive ability. Of course, we know Henry the Red, he has the 7 seconds of invulnerability, invincibility, and of course Ash AOD has the potion where he gains health, he gains damage output, he takes reduced damage output, and reduces his fear. Scotty, on the other hand, now he does have a short cooldown on his Thunder Thrust, but I still don't see this ability as nearly as effective as the other two warrior class abilities, and I don't see Scotty as effective in terms of damage output and balance bar damage output as effective as the other two warriors. So Scotty, he's going to come in at number 11. He's going to be a C tier. He is probably, guys, my personal favorite survivor in this game. So I really want to see Scotty get some more love. I love playing as Scotty, and he could be an absolute monster in game still. There's no doubt about that, but still, I don't think he's as viable as the other warriors. So we're going to go ahead and put him in C tier for right now. And with good old Sash, support Ash from Evil Dead 1. The reason I want to put him at number 10, guys, is because of his passive ability, which is, hitting enemies with heavy attacks. It restores health. Now, this can be really, really good, especially if you have a fast weapon, like a knife or a cleaver, something like that, that's going to swing really fast. You get them heavy hits in real quick. But the thing is with him, you kind of have to be near your enemy or near your teammates in the midst of battle, doing this damage to be able to heal them consistently. Now you can go 1-on-1, 2-on-1 with you and another teammate, and you can kind of take the aggro a little bit and boost their health back up. But at the same time, you have to kind of put yourself out there as Sash and risk yourself to be able to heal your teammates. Of course, he's a support, so he has his shemps and amulets as well that he can do for teammates. But at the same time, I think when you think support class, in my opinion, he's probably going to be the last support class that I would go with. I would easily choose Cheryl or Pablo over support Ash. Now, he does have the fear reducer as well, reassuring presence. This is an absolutely incredible ability. I think it's one of the best abilities in the game. But this still doesn't make me want to choose him if I have to choose a support class. This is absolutely great for hunters, warriors, anybody with really good weapons that you don't want to wipe your whole team, things like that. Reassuring presence is absolutely a blast of an ability. But at the same time, I just don't see support Ash as viable as the other support classes. Again, if it comes down to somebody who has to pick a support class, he's probably going to be the last one I'm going to go with at this point. Now, this is where it starts to get tough. Okay, so the rest of these 9 characters that I'm about to show you, you really can't go wrong if you pick any one of these guys to play a match with. And I mean, you can absolutely destroy demons with any one of these guys that we're about to mention. So this is where it gets tougher. And I know people's going to kind of want to correct me on this or kind of not agree with this, but this is my own opinion, and I'm thinking, again, solo queue. So we're going to go Amanda Fisher. And the reason I have Amanda Fisher so low at number 9 is because I think she is the least effective of all 4 hunters. Now, we have her ability, Ammo for Days. When activated, this ability allows you to temporarily fire your ranged weapon without expending any ammunition. It sounds absolutely amazing, especially if you have a really good weapon. Of course, the pistol, not so much, blunderbuss, things like that. Especially weapons that have to reload after each shot. But the only thing about this, guys, is it has a 90-second cooldown, a minute and 30 seconds on the cooldown, and it only has a 7-second duration. So yes, I mean, if you're at the book, you want to get this Henrietta off the book. Of course, popping this with Amanda and tagging her with headshots would be absolutely devastating and incredible. But I don't see this ability as an ability that makes me want to choose Amanda over any other of the three hunters. Maybe if it came down to her and Ash, Ash AOD, or Ash Evil Dead 2, I should say, if it came down to her and him, maybe I would go with her in some instances. It would depend, but at the same time, I don't think I'm going to choose Amanda over any other hunter, and it has to do with this ability, Ammo for Days. Now, of course, she does get to start with the pistol. The pistol can be really good for a hunter, but it's definitely not my go-to weapon with a hunter because, yes, it shoots fast, but it does not deal a ton of damage. It's good for possessed teammates, things like that. But it's I can think of a skew of other weapons that I would rather take over the pistol. And of course, we have the accuracy counts. Every consecutive shot grants 2% extra damage per consecutive hit. So it's nice stacks there with that. But still, at the same time, guys, I'm not going to choose Amanda Fisher over any other of the hunters, which is why we have her at number 9. And we have her at B tier right now. So we're out of the C tier. We're up B tier. Amanda is B tier because she is still very, very solid. Definitely a class that I enjoy playing with, and she's very effective. All right, guys, so coming in at number 8 on our list, and definitely a high B tier. It was really hard not to put this Ash higher on the list, but there's just so many good guys in front of him that I have to put him at number 8. Now, he is another incredible class, another incredible hunter class. Like I just mentioned Amanda previously. He's not my first choice I would go with in the hunter class, but god damn can he be so effective in the game. And Exorcist tells the whole tale with this Ash. Absolutely one of the best abilities in this game, man. You're in a pinch. Things are going bad. Man, that, you know, a basic gets possessed, boom, Exorcist, drain the demon's infernal energy, send the demon kind of scrambling. Oh shit, you know, I had a plan there. I just got exorcised. Now I got to go kind of collect myself. So Exorcist is just an unbelievable ability. And I get why, you know, it got a little bit of a nerf there as far as cooldown. But one of the best abilities in the game. And of course, we have the Treasure Hunter. He can see chests through walls. He can see them at a distance through walls. And again, he has the standard hunter capabilities in his skill tree. Obviously, he's a freaking beast with guns. He can dodge like crazy. He's a hunter. You know, he's great. So you can't go wrong with this Ash. And I'm not saying, like, don't pick this guy. I think he's absolutely incredible. I love playing as him. Obviously, we have the Savini Ash skin, so I got to play as him. But he's so much fun. And again, the Exorcist skill can absolutely just change the tide of a match. So number 8, high B tier. We're going to go with Ash Evil Dead 2. And coming in at number 7, and this is one in my last tier list that I was dead wrong about, and I am so embarrassed. I apologize, but I had Annie at the very bottom of my previous tier list. But in my defense, because of the balance bar changes, I think that, you know, kind of helped her out a little bit, quite a bit. Annie is an absolute force to be reckoned with in this game. So you hit him where it hurts. Obviously, this is her bread and butter. When activated, this ability increases range damage from Annie and any teammates who are near her. 30% damage, 15-second duration. So in a sense, this turns Annie into a hunter for 15 seconds. And any of the teammates in her aura, especially hunters, turn them into super hunters for 15 seconds. So again, if you're on the book, you're on the pages or the dagger, and you're looking to put out some mad damage to a boss or elites or basics that are possessed, Annie is where it's at, man. Get those guys in your aura, pop the ability, and just melt everything in your path, especially with balance bar. So yeah, with the balance bar meta now, Annie is absolutely incredible in this game. And it's so awesome because I never really played her much previously until the balance bar changes, and I realize how wrong I was, and she is just incredible in this game. So number 7, high B tier, we come in with Annie Nobi. This is an absolute no-brainer. I mean, Cheryl is just, Cheryl's my baby in this game, and I know every other support class that likes Cheryl. She's just so perfect in every aspect when it comes to being a support class in this game. I really don't have to say any more about this. The fact that she can carry 8 champs, her healing ability, just keeping everybody in battle for the entire game, keeping everybody alive. Those warriors that are in there just brawling with the demons, the Deadites, and she's just boosting their health up over and over and over. And of course, she has her ability. She can drop down on the ground. Everybody gets inside. Everybody benefits. Everybody gets their health up. She is just the support role to a T. She's just absolute support. And if I'm joining a solo queue match and I see, a few hunters and a warrior and a few hunters, or a leader, warrior, whatever the combination, I'm going straight to Cheryl or Pablo. But typically, if I want to keep my team alive, you got to go Cheryl, man. She is just an absolute monster. You have teammates feeding you Shemps. You're running around finding Shemps. Always full on Shemps, and you're just healing everybody in the midst of battle. So Cheryl is she's just a complete character for this game, and you can't go wrong having her in every single match. Cheryl can always be in every single match with any combination. And for another A tier class is Pablo. Now, I want to be specific about this, guys. Do I think Pablo is a better support than Cheryl? Absolutely not. I think Cheryl is the best support class in this game, but Pablo is played more, especially now, than just a support class. Now, let me explain. Of course, we know, guys, with the early possession, nerfs to the demons, early game, the demon is super, super weak. And Pablo is the one character that can take massive advantage of that. Of course, we know his camouflage. I've already made a video about this. Everybody knows about Pablo's camouflage. Cruise around the map, find all the map pieces, rush the map pieces as quick as you can with Pablo, get the objective started while the demon's still weak, and make that demon sweat and rush to build himself up. This is what Pablo's all about. And of course, he's a support, so he can keep your team alive. He can create amulets, keep dropping amulets, keep that shield up for your teammates for the whole game. He is just an absolutely incredible support. Again, I don't think he's better than Cheryl in that respect, but as an overall character, especially with these changes, I think Pablo's more viable. Just because of his camouflage. But enough said there, guys, about Pablo. We know what he can do. We know what everybody takes advantage of Pablo with. And if you're a demon and you see Pablo in a match, at least for me, when I see a Pablo in the match, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get going here. I gotta get moving. I gotta find these guys. I gotta try to find the other teammates, try to pick them off to slow him down. I got to get leveled up. It kind of throws you into a little bit of a frenzy. So this is what Pablo can do. He puts the pressure on the demon. So we have him in high A tier, very high A tier, Pablo. So you know who we have left? We have 4 characters left. All 4 of these characters are S tier across the board. Now, you can mix match them any way you want, but these next 4 characters are all S tier. Now, as far as AOD Ashe, I did have him number 1 on my last list. He's still very high up there. Like I said, with these last 4, I can't exactly put them in front of each other. So he's still S tier. He's still as good as what he was. Of course, his potion got nerfed a little bit, but he is still a monster, guys. And as I've mentioned in our last video, he is a new player's favorite survivor. He's basically, if you don't really know what you're doing yet, you're not as skilled, you're trying to learn the game, things like that, this is the guy to go with because his potion obviously tells the tale. You have the damage increase, the damage reduction, the health restored, the fear reduction. You drink this potion and everything on your character gets improved. Not to mention, now we have the balance bar mana. Ashe is a warrior class, so you can spec into him heavy balance bar damage as much as you want, and you can take out that balance bar like nothing with him, especially when you use the Wiseman's potion. You're taking out balance bar, you're doing massive damage. He's just an absolute force to be reckoned with in this game, and he is still S tier, and I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon unless the meta changes crazily to where, you know, he's not as viable anymore. But Ash versus Evil Dead, if you got one in your match, man, it always makes me feel a little bit better when I'm solo queuing and I see one of these guys pop up, you know, level 25. I'm like, okay, you know, we might have a little bit of an easier time. So Ash, Army of Darkness, S tier. He's number 4 on the list, but like I said, you can mix match these guys any way you want. All right, guys, next on our S tier list, of course, obviously, is Kelly. Again, one of my favorite characters in this game. She is just a monster, man, and she is a pain in the ass for demons. We all know it. If you get a good Kelly in the match and you're demon, buckle up, because she's going to give you a hell of a time, and she's going to extend that match, and she's going to do some massive damage. Obviously, we know we have the slip shot with her. When activated, you dodge without using stamina, and your range attacks cause bleeding damage to your target for a short period. So, here's the thing, guys, with hunters. If you know how to use stamina, as any player in this game pretty much, not just hunters, but if you know how to use stamina, you will get the best benefit out of it. And what I mean by that is when a demon's chasing you, a possessed unit's chasing you, instead of sprinting away from them and trying to dodge, you time your dodges up. You move backwards slowly. You don't run. You move, you dodge, you throw their tracking off whenever they're trying to hit you. You dodge into them, dodge past them, make them turn around, make them move, make it clunky for them. And this is why Kelly is S tier, of course, because of her slip shot, I should say. Her massive damage that she does. She's a hunter. And not to mention, she just has mad dodges in general because she's a hunter. So on top of these, whenever you use your skill tree, and you can get up to 7 dodges just by maximizing your skill tree, then you have her battle frenzy. Then you have your dodges back whenever your stamina goes back up. It is insanity that she can be so evasive against the demon players, and she can do damage while being evasive. Massive damage. And again, that falls back to Annie. You know, getting a match with Annie, man, you are going to be doing unbelievably insane damage with Kelly. So there we go, guys. Kelly, of course, obviously, S tier in this game. All right, guys, so this one was tough, and this one here makes me feel the worst out of all of these survivors. I gave Ed a bad rap in my last video, and I've never been so wrong about anything in this game ever that I have predicted or, you know, I've assumed. Ed is easily one of the best survivors in this game, and I won't say it by my playing with him, but actual people that are skilled with ranged weapons. Not so much me. I mean, I could be good with hunters, but I've seen some skilled players playing Eds and Kellys in hunter classes. He is an absolute freaking monster, dude. When I'm playing demon, if there is any survivor that I hate seeing in my match from the start, it is Ed Getley, because I know if he's good, if the player playing him is good, I am in big trouble. And the reason being is because, again, he's a hunter. You know, the last shot with the hunter, of course, if you want to go the crossbow route, now the crossbow doesn't have tracking or anything like that, so you got to be good with it if you want to go the crossbow route. But you can put any gun in this guy's hands. You take the blunderbuss, you take a double barrel, you have the last shot. He's a monster. He's dodging like crazy. He's a hunter. And his ability. The collector, his passive, and it's a trap. So he has the ability to take down traps in the vicinity of where you and your team are trying to loot up. You're trying to find things. You know the demon's nearby. He's just disarming this trap like crazy. And it has a 40-second duration, which is an insane amount of time. So he's taking these traps out, and not to mention your whole team gets the benefit from the collector. So I've seen matches with Eds in them where everybody's running around with legendary weapons. You know, they're just pulling stuff out of chests that are just insane. You know, your hunters will be geared up with really good weapons. Your warriors will be geared up with really good melee weapons. It's just unbelievable. Ed is cracked in this game. He is literally that damn good. not just selfishly, but for the whole team. And that's why I put him slightly ahead of Kelly, is because Kelly is a little bit selfish. Most things benefit her directly, but for Ed, he benefits everybody, and he's just an all-out powerhouse just in general. So I hate playing against Eds. I cannot stand it. I have been spanked by Eds in the past, and I just do not like playing against Eds. So Ed Getley, easily S tier, obviously. Everyone knows that. And that leaves us with one more, guys. Surprise, surprise, no one expected this. Henry the Red is currently the best survivor in Evil Dead, the game, hands down. If we look at it from a universal perspective, yes, people are better with hunters than they are with warriors. Yes, certain warriors are better than they are with hunters. But from a universal perspective, Henry is designed with this balance bar meta to be the best character in this game, the best survivor. Let me explain. It's real easy. Obviously, if we go to a skill tree, most folks know what a skill tree is all about. It's all about balance bar damage. You get some blunt weapons, you're going to be doing some crazy balance bar damage across the board. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that's what warrior classes can do. And of course, with the meta, Henry, you get a sledgehammer in his hands, a two-handed sledge. You're going to be doing crazy balance bar damage in 2 hits to basic units. And I mean, you're just going to be devastating for the demon. But that's not the biggest thing about Henry, is his unstoppable. This ability, in my opinion, is the best ability in this game. It only has a 60-second cooldown, which I'm terrified is going to be nerfed at some point. But not only is Henry a beginner's player because he's just smack him and whack him melee, but his unstoppable can completely change the tide of the game. Everybody can be down, but Henry. Demon thinks, I got this in the bag. Game's over. Henry can completely turn the game around and even win it for the team with this ability. Essentially, he becomes invulnerable, almost completely invulnerable. Of course, Eligos can be a little bit of an issue sometimes, but the thing about Henry is you can revive down players when it's crucial. You can just jump right in the midst of battle, pop this bad boy, revive them. You know, if you're afraid of a demon dash, kind of bait the killer, go to revive, wait for the dash, dodge the dash, and then go back, use your unstoppable, revive them. Revive at the altar. You know, you're facing the Dark Ones. The demon comes in. He's absolutely just wrecking all the survivors. They're all dead at the Dark Ones. What do? You go grab their souls with Henry. You run to an altar. You pop your ability. You revive them all. You're back in the fight. He speaks for himself. He is, especially with this balance bar meta, guys, in my opinion, and this is almost a fact, Henry the Red is the best survivor in this video game right now. And of course, that's always subject to change, depending on how balance changes go in the game. You know, things can always change back and forth to make him not the best anymore, but as it sits right now, I'm confident that he's the best survivor in this game. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is our updated tier list for survivors. We did one a couple months back when the game first released. Now I wanted to get a new one out with all these updates, balance changes, things like that. Let me know, guys, what you think about this list, man. It is definitely different than my previous one, but I think we kind of got most things right for the most part. But with that said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My name's Sergeant Moose. Definitely check back in the future for more Evil Dead the Game videos, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in.